Well, 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 I'm back. Listen, I understand that to you guys I was only gone for like a week, but I legitimately haven't recorded a video in like 4 weeks. So I'm so glad to see you all here. I'm so glad that you've taken your time to click on this video. My name is Cameron. I make videos about books and reading and things like that. And I'm so glad to have you here. So, every month I do a monthly review. Normally I do this right at the beginning of the month, but because I was on vacation and out of the country, we're doing it today despite the fact that I will be posting a September one in like 2 weeks from recording this. So, yeah. Anyway, I feel like I'm like super ahead of myself. I feel like I've been talking a lot. But yeah, I think I did finally though pull myself out of that reading slump that I've kind of been bringing up for every monthly recap that I have done since like March. Because I read 21 books this past month, which I'm extremely happy about. 21 books, 6 of those were audiobooks and 3 of them were graphic novels. So if that gives you a good scope. But yeah, so as always, I start these videos out with some stats. Here's what's going on, like here's all the things I read. I like to keep track of it. If you're not interested in it, then I guess skip ahead. So 5,793 pages read. Keep in mind, not all of the books I read were like physical books, they were audio, some of them were audiobooks, but 73 hours read for the month, which I try to get around 50 hours read every month. It's just an easy goal for me, especially since I've started picking up more audiobooks. Honestly, I might bump that up to like 60 hours read a month when I start hitting the 50 hours pretty consistently. I feel like I missed July, but I could be wrong about that. Regardless though, 73 hours read. The pace this month, because of the graphic novels, was much faster than it normally is. So I read 152 pages in an hour, where normally I sit around like the 130 range if I only read like word books, regular books. I don't know what you would call it. But yeah, so those are my stats. Oh, that's not all my stats. So the best day I had, I read 791 pages. And I read for 397 minutes total. So, pretty good month overall, pretty good day specifically, my best day of the month. Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of do a rundown of all of the books I've read. If this video seems a little shorter to you, it's because 9 of the books I read, nope. I don't know where I pulled that number out of. Like 7 of the books I read were for other videos, which is very cool. 4 of the books I read were for My Family Chooses the Books I Read, which was several weeks back. And then 4 of those 7 books were also for the Twilight recap video. So if you want to see me, I don't know, it's not really recap, but if you want to see me review Twilight or read some books that my family has picked for me, then you can check those out on my page after you finish this video. A bunch of the books that I read this month were for other videos, so I might not go too deeply into my thoughts on them. Those will be in the other videos that I mentioned. But yeah, so you can check out my thoughts there. But if you've been here before, you know my 3 goal books every month is a nonfiction, a classic, and a translated work. So, for my nonfictions, both of these I read for My Family Picks, my TBR. So my mom recommended me I Am Malala, and my father recommended me Love is the Killer app. Read both of those. Malala specifically was really, really excellent. I gave that one 5 stars. So my translated work, because we're getting into spooky season, and you know me, if you've been here before, you guys know I'm a vampire girly. I just love vampires, and I've read a lot of vampire literature this month with Twilight, and both my translated and classic works being vampire works. I don't know, man. I don't know. But my translated work that I read, I am really not going to try and pronounce this author's last name. I'll put it up here with the cover. But that is Thirst. I thought that one was a pretty good interpretation of vampires. Not my all-time favorite. I ended up giving it 3 stars just because it didn't quench the thirst I normally have for vampire novels and what I like my vampire novels to entail. But regardless, I did still think it was very good, so if you're interested in any of that, check that book out. And then my classic book was Carmilla, which is like the vampire book. It's the vampire book that actually kind of inspired Bram Stoker to write Dracula. So it is a classic. It's very queer if you've never read it. And if you've watched like Castlevania or played the games or whatever, there's a character called Carmilla. She's like, that's Carmilla. So, a very iconic vampire lady we love. I was actually very happy to get to read this. It's really not long, so if you're looking for a very short classic to read in the coming months, coming up to spooky season and whatnot, I would completely recommend that one for you. As mentioned, several of the books I talked about, both of the nonfictions I mentioned. I also read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I read the first Twilight book for the family recaps. So if you want to know more of my thoughts on those, they were all pretty much highlights, but you can check out that former video. And then after I read Twilight at my older sister's recommendation, I went ahead and read the other 3 of the original series. I did not read Midnight Sun. If you want that from me, feel free to comment down below and I'll pick it up and read it. But yeah, I read those for my Twilight recap video, which my little sister actually edited, and it honestly her best work. She did an excellent job with it. But those are the books I've kind of already discussed in other videos. So the books I am going to discuss with you today are going to be more of some of my standouts from the month of August. So, diving in, one of you lovely watchers who commented, if you are enjoying this video, comment down below, who commented on one of my videos, recommended me the Talon series by Julie Kagawa. I don't remember how the audiobook narrator pronounced her name. This is kind of a book about dragons and what they need to do to ensure survival and how they have to stick with this kind of company or program called Talon. It's a 5-book series. There were definitely parts that were a little annoying. Like, I don't love a love triangle. I'm not gonna really get into that, but I don't love a love triangle. But if you're looking for something like very fast-paced, very high action, it's honestly a really good series. I can't remember who recommended it to me, and it haunts me every day. But thank you for your recommendation. I really enjoyed the series. I had a very good time reading it. Those were 5 out of the 6 audiobooks I read were just back-to-back me getting Talon book after Talon book after Talon book. There's 5 of them in total. All of the audiobooks are, I want to say, around the 11-hour range, and I listened to them on double speed, so they were honestly pretty quick audiobook reads. So, if you want to check it out, you definitely should. And then, oh my goodness, gang, the internet has been telling me for years, and I've somehow managed to avoid Leigh Bardugo, okay? Somehow, I don't know how, I did not read them when I was in middle school, even though a lot of her books are YA. But I finally picked up the Six of Crows duology. I read both of those. And if you want a fantasy heist book, that's the fantasy heist book. It was so good. It was so good. I actually had tons of fun reading it. I kind of want to get, because I know it's a part of the Grisha-verse, and I think she wrote like a whole nother like 6-book series on that. Don't quote me on that. If you have more information about it, put it down in the comments below so I can know what I'm getting into. But yeah, so I very much enjoyed her writing style. I thought her characters were very fun. And The book that she just put out, The Familiar, is very, very interesting to me, and I've been thinking about reading that. So if you've read it before, please let me know what you thought of it, if it's anything like Six of Crows, or if it's not anything like Six of Crows, but still good, let me know. And then I, honestly, like I said, this video is probably going to be very short, but the other standouts I read Where'd You Go, Bernadette, which I actually thought was kind of interesting. I still didn't love most of the characters. I thought a lot of them were selfish or bad communicators, but I thought it was fun. I do want to check out the movie because your girl loves Kate Blanchett. Blanchett? I don't know. Your girl loves Miss Galadriel. So let me know if you think that movie is good. And then the two other books that I was honestly really impressed by. If you haven't gauged just from how I am as a person, I am a reformed theater kid. I'm still pretty much a theater kid. I'm just, yeah. Anyway, I'm a reformed theater kid, and a musical that won Best Musical when I was like in the middle of my theater kid days was Fun Home, which is based on a graphic novel by Alison Bechdel. That is an excellent book. I read it for the first time. I guess it's also another nonfiction pick that I completely forgot to mention. It is about a girl who kind of discovers that she's a lesbian in a household that's a little toxic at times, living with a father who is a closeted homosexual. So, yeah, it's very heavy. Let me make this clear. And it's a lot about like her life growing up and what happens after her dad passes. Spoiler alert, the book is set in like 1970, so time has passed. But yeah, just a really excellent book. Because it's a graphic novel, it's a very quick read. It is heavy, so check content warnings if you're interested in that. But it's very, very good. And then my favorite book. I read a lot of good books, or maybe not even good books because I did read the Twilight series, but I read a lot of books that I just straight up enjoyed. I want to say, let me pull up my app that I use to track. Oh, as always, I'm using Bookly to track my stats. Yeah, there were very few that I honestly rated. I did put several in the 3-star category, but my 3-star a lot of times is just like a, yeah, I enjoyed the book pretty well. Probably will never read it and probably won't remember a lot of it after a while, but it was fine. So nothing under the 3-star category, which is excellent. But my favorite book of the bunch was actually a graphic novel, which is a rare thing for me. I don't always put graphic novels as like my top book of anything, but this book is Snapdragon. And honestly, it's a really good time. It is about a little girl who kind of discovers a witch on the outside of town and like becoming friends with that witch and learning more about her and stuff like that. It's once again, it's a really quick read. I don't know what about it. Like, I love, a big part of it is like taxidermy and bone reconstruction. Sorry not to out myself as someone with very weird interests sometimes. So I really liked that. I thought the art style was excellent. I thought the characters in it were really, really excellent. And it's such a quick read and it's like very cozy and wholesome and stuff like that, that I just totally recommend you check it out. I had so much fun reading it. And honestly, I'm on the hunt for a copy, so I will be probably buying it soon. That is all I have for my August book review. I told you it was going to be a pretty quick video. If you have any interest in my reviews about the other videos I discussed, they're on my profile. I can link them down in the description box, all that sort of stuff. And then if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you have liked multiple of my videos and you want to watch more that I put out, you could subscribe. That'd be pretty cool. If you have any thoughts about the books I talked about today, or you want to recommend me a book, I read a lot of your guys' recommendations. Please let me know. Please comment down below and I will happily check those out. Otherwise, Go find your Halloween costume if you celebrate Halloween. The best deals are several months before Halloween, like don't wait until the last minute. A lot of Ren fairs are happening right now, so also check out and see if there's any Ren fairs in your area. And of course, go visit your local library. I will see you all later. Goodbye!